Good afternoon, everyone. I think this is my first time on TEDx, so thank you, SPH, for inviting me here. I think today I will just share my experience as a young politician. I don't know if it can inspire you, but I hope it can. At least my objective in politics is that I want more and more young people to get into politics, especially young women. Because if I can do it at 22 years old, I don't see any reason why you all cannot do it. To open this TEDx presentation, I think I'll quote one of the Iliad's heroes, Glaucus. It is a very simple quote, actually, and if you look at the last sentences, it's simple. As one generation dies away, as one generation comes to life, another dies away. But for me, it has a very important meaning. It tells us about regeneration. And I think we can all agree that regeneration is inevitable. And it's inevitable in every aspect of life, including politics. Now the question that we all need to answer is that, are we going to be the part of that regeneration in politics? Or are we going to leave it to political dynasty? And I have took this road. I want to be the part of that regeneration in politics. I don't want to leave it to our political dynasty right now in Indonesia. And this is how I started. I started at 19-year-old. I think I was still in my first semester at Paramadina University, so still very young, yeah. And I came to one of the most sacred courts in Indonesia, the Constitutional Court. And my objective was, I wanted to help Jakarta's governor back then, Pak Ahok, for him to run as independent candidate. And I knew back then when I stepped into Mahkamah Konstitusi, the Constitutional Court, I told myself that I have huge responsibility here. I'm not here because of myself. I'm here because of a big fight against the old political orders, the old political parties that did not want to give a ticket to a very good governor. And most of the credit shouldn't go to me. It should go to the GNCI because this was initiated by them. But it actually changed my perception about myself and I think also about politics because we won the court. And independent candidates have less requirements to run as independent candidate, particularly in Jakarta's election. But at that time, I knew that I wanted to contribute more for Indonesia, but I didn't know how. And of course, I didn't want to be a part of political party because I hated political party back then. But then came the moment that changed my life. I received a broadcast message that the City Hall, the Balai Kota, opened an internship for students. Of course, I didn't think twice. I applied, but the funny thing is, after I applied to the Balai Kota, I didn't want to open my email again. Because I was so pessimistic. Why would the governor accept a 19-year-old who wasn't even graduated from university when there were so many young graduates from all top universities around the world that would die to work for him? So very pessimistic. I didn't open it. But on one fine day, I opened my email, I checked my email, and they accepted my application and called for an interview. Of course, I was so happy, but I was so panicked at the same time because I have missed the 2 days they have scheduled for an interview. I know. But lucky me, there was still 1 day left for an interview. So, it was very different than the first time I applied. I was so pessimistic. The time that I stepped into the City Hall for an interview, I felt so optimistic because I thought that if I don't believe in myself, then why would anyone believe in me? If I couldn't even convince myself, then how could I convince anyone? So, so actually, I believe in myself, and I told them why I really want to be an intern at the City Hall, and finally I got in. And at City Hall, actually, I learned what politics truly is. I met so many good bureaucrats, clean bureaucrats, and I saw with my own eyes how the governor ran the office very professionally. And I thought that actually, through politics, we can create policies that help people. We can help to educate people. We can help to give them healthcare subsidy. So we can create policies that help people. And at that time, I also thought that I didn't want to stop here. But again and again, I was so confused. What's the next step? What's the next step? And then I met all these people. These are the people that made me redefine politics. Before, I thought, when I stepped in at the Constitutional Court at a 19-year-old student, for me, politics is only a matter of power. And of course, until today, I realize that you cannot separate politics from power. Power and politics cannot be separated. But after seeing how these people prove in their respective cities, I now have a different definition of politics. I think politics is also about how you give back the power to the people. It's also how you give back the power to the people. And it's the essence of democracy. And if we talk about democracy, it's impossible for us not to talk about parties. And then I remember one of the American historian, Rossiter, said about democracy. He said that there is no democracy without politics. And there is no politics without political parties. Parties control our politics. And politics control our life. Sometimes we like to pull ourselves out from politics. But it does not mean politics do not control us. It controls us every day. So I then realized in 2017, I have to be in political party. But the problem is, there was no political party that matched my values. But in Jakarta's election, I met so many young people who are idealists, who have a very clear vision about how we should make Indonesia a better country. And I see myself in PSI. We share common values. Together we support anti-corruption movement. Together we embrace diversity. We support pluralism. We never discuss about our religion. We never discuss about our ethnicity. We focus on the most important things that we should discuss every day. How we combat corruption, how we combat intolerance. And after I got into PSI, of course, when you got into politics, there are many things that you will face, you will experience. People often ask me, how do you manage to see all those hatred comments on your social media? And I think I managed by realizing that if you want to be in politics, some will praise you and some will hate you. But you should remember why you're here. The reason that I'm here is not because I want to be praised. Of course, I'm very thankful for everyone who support me. Without them, I would be nothing. But I'm not here because I want to be praised. And of course, I don't want to be here just because I want to be hated. Nobody wants to be hated. But I am here because I have an objective. I'm here because I have a vision. I want to fight through parliament. I want to create a law that has never been passed about budget transparency, e-budgeting. That's my goal. And as long as it has not been achieved, there is no reason for me to retreat. And if you ask me today, after everything, after they expose my personal life, after every day, I've read many sexual abuses towards me on social media, because I'm a woman, I know that. And it's very easy to attack on sexual issues if you're a woman, especially women in politics. And after they hate me just because I'm young and a woman, after everything, and if you ask me if I wanted to go back and not be in politics, I would say no. I will still be here. And I'm proud to be here. And I think it's all worth it. Because through politics, I can now make something that has never been done before. How you open a very transparent selection to recruit your legislative candidates. How you can do a crowdfunding in politics, something that has never been done before in Indonesia. So again, I think it's all worth it. I don't want to go back, and I think I just want to go forward. And because I managed to get past all that, and I know it's still nothing. I'm still a newbie here. I don't know what will happen to me if I got into parliament, I hope. But here I am today in politics, running for the parliament. And every day, I met so many ibu-ibu. This ibu-ibu. And actually, it sometimes reminds me how after so many years, there was no single legislative candidate that ever talked to them heart to heart. What they told me, these two ibu-ibu, what they told me when I met them is that there's only one thing they told me. Please don't forget me when you are elected as a member of parliament. Because they are so tired. Every time they choose for a parliament member, every time they choose for a candidate, no one will come back to see her. No one will come back to hear their aspirations. So sometimes outside of the system, outside of politics, our voices may be heard. Our voices may be heard. But it's different when you are in politics. When you are in the system, you are the policymakers. So if I want to fight against those people that corrupt our money, that corrupt our tax, I know that I cannot do it just outside the system. We have so many NGOs here in Indonesia, and I think they have done very good jobs. But I know they are also very frustrated on how our parliament never actually listened to them. So I know that if you want to fight, if you want to put a real fight, we have to do it inside the system, inside the parliament. And after these experiences, and people like to ask, how are you going to ensure us that if you are in the parliament, you won't be the same as the rest of those who are already in the parliament? I know that it won't be easy to convince all of you. And as for me, myself, I do not believe only on people who claim themselves to be idealistic. So, me and my friends in the PSI, we have already created a platform, an application actually, for you to monitor our work every day in the parliament. So every time you think that have I have not listened to your aspiration, I have not been the person that I was before, then you can easily rate me for just 1 star. So we actually implement some kind of Gojek or WhatsApp call rating. So if you think I've done a good job, you can rate me by 5 stars. If you think I'm doing a bad job, you can rate me by 1 star. And we will evaluate that every 6 months. So I can be recalled if I don't do my work. And I believe that Indonesia, right now we have so many young people. And in 2019, we have 55% percentage of registered voters that will vote for the presidential candidate and for the legislative candidate. And I really believe that, again, if I can do it, I don't want young people just to be the object of politics. I mean, everybody will fight for your votes because you are the majority right now. But I think you shouldn't be just the object. You guys should be the subject. You shouldn't be just the voters, but you should actually make decisions and be policymakers. And that's why I think us as young people should remember what our founding father said, what Bung Karno said, that we shouldn't reach just for the stars, but we should reach for something bigger than the stars. Because we could do it, we can do it, and this is the right momentum to do it. I think that's it. Thank you.